26 Charlie Tango 1017 1017 listening. Stephen Barrow, thanks for posting this this radio to me. Right then, excuse the mess in the background. I'm in my man cave, motorbike shed, CB shack, whatever you want to call it. Either way, this is the box I received. I've got a pair of scissors and cut the label there and just threw it in the bin so nobody sees my address and name and details. And this is the box. Why didn't you carry on that way, mate? Why did you not go that way with the tape as well as about 1,000 lashings this way? Because all you got to do is go like that. And you can see the contents. I can see a microphone lead there, and I haven't even tried to unpack this yet. Half of this could have fell out in the delivery guy's van. I'll give you an award. It's probably the worst packaging job I've ever seen in my life. Look at that lot. There's a mic anyway, so we know that much is in there. There's definitely a mic in there, and that's how it was packaged. I would have gone over that way a couple of times, but then we're all individuals. This man has his own style. I think he's been looking in the window of Ann Summers and spotted a pair of women's crotchless knickers. Oh, peekaboo, peekaboo. Right, and I get my knife. I'm not going to film this because it'd be a shaky old video. I'll get the knife and I'll put a cut across there, and then we'll get it out and see what it looks like in the flesh. It could be a horrid one. Sometimes things look better than the pictures. Sometimes they look worse. But either way, it's an old radio. 40 quid. I paid for it at £6 postage. In an Ann Summers box. Look. Ooh, peekaboo. So, doing a bit of accidental zooming now. I do apologise. Here we go, I've just put a cut in there with the scissors, that's all I've done. Ooh, look, there's a microphone, it didn't fall out of the box. Good one, Steve Barrows. The mic and the power lead are still in the box, it didn't fall out of that gap. Blimey. One rather, never mind, I've got plenty of spare mics. As I say, let's be fair, they're getting on in years, aren't they? Bit like me. There's that and that, we'll move that out of the way. Excuse the shaky video camera because, as I say, it's a very lightweight video camera. This you've only got to move it a slight bit, and I'll tell you something, this is pretty difficult. Right, I'll tell you what, pause it again, here's the radio. If you look at the right angle or the wrong angles, you can see some right good dingoes in it. Some good old dents, and yes, it's definitely, it's seen some action, this one. It's definitely seen some action. I'm just hoping that it works better than it actually looks. It's got a few little dinks here and there, one there, one there. You can't probably see them in this light. Got an old dink there. Yes, it's got a few dinkies on it. As I say, it's an old radio, isn't it? So we can't be too judgmental. You don't know how many vehicles it's been chucked in. It could have been out on expeditions up mountains somewhere. So really, it's there's our CBX, not the cleanest one. I don't think I've ever owned one, or if I have owned one years gone by, years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it be. I've had that many radios through my hands. I've had all sorts, President Lincolns. I've had about 4 of those, Colt Excaliburs. I've had about 4 or 5 jumbos. I've had loads and loads and loads of radios over the years. Never wanted to own one of these things because I don't think, I don't know, they weren't the bee's knees to me. But you had two main routes to go down, didn't you, years ago? You had the Uniden or the Cybernet, and this is a Cybernet. And I found out yesterday, totally by accident, the Midland home base that I'm bidding on, yet to be seen if I win it. There's another, what day is it? It's Tuesday today. There's about another 4 days on it yet till it runs out, so whether I win it or not, but that is a very clean one, that Midland home base, and it's going to go for a few quid, that is. Either way, it turns out that the Midland home base has got the Harrier CBX board fitted inside it, and that's something that I didn't know and I learnt yesterday. But then I wouldn't probably know information like that because I've never owned one before and never wanted to own one. But in a moment I will get my dummy load, get my power meter, power this thing up and see if it does do 4 watts. That's the first thing I do when I get a radio in my shack. Find out what power it puts out. It's me again. When I initially powered the radio up, the just unpackaged Harrier CBX from yesteryear, I noticed there's no fuse holder in the power lead, so I've got to, I think one of my other radios on up here bolted to my shelf has a 2-pin with a fuse in line, so I'll have to borrow that till I can purchase another one. When I first turned the radio on, the meter didn't light up, so I thought, oh no, don't tell me the bulb's gone on that, but maybe it could have had a bad transit, because all sorts. I used to work for a company beginning with a H, I'm not going to mention the name, and you're encouraged to throw parcels, be it big large screen TVs and all sorts, high in the air as far back of the lorry as you can. And I used to cringe with some of the stuff where it's as fragile, and you get told off if you didn't fill the lorry as high as you could to the roof of the lorry. So things got a real hammering. Some things no doubt's got broken and returned through the same company, so they made double the money for, I guess, if something got broke. I don't know how other companies. This one I believe came by Parcel Force, but they're never going to be careful when they've got to move mass amounts of boxes, letters and post and etc, are they? But either way, I've just received this, turned it on, well, powered it up, turned it on, and the meter didn't work, and turned it on and off a couple of times and the meter lit up. So right, that's that one. Well, my plan is now, I have spoken on the radio, spoke to Tim, said it sounded okay. I'll show you what the power output is. I've got to turn that down because it's doing according to my meter, and I've had it on both my meters, and I've got a dummy load, a 50 ohm impedance dummy load plugged into the top meter, which I'll show you in a moment. When Tim was talking, bearing in mind he's about 4 miles away, the needle was going twang. The needle in the display, in the meter, was going twang. When I key the rig up, it goes twang, goes off the end of the clock, so that's maladjusted, if you want to call it that, out of alignment. There you go, look, oh, tell a lie, it's on the plus. It's on the plus, so it's still showing more than 4 watts, and that's into a perfect dummy load, so that's going to be turned down. This is its actual power the radio is doing into the dummy load. It's really saying 6 watts. On half power now, okay, somebody could say, oh, that meter might not be very accurate, but I did it on this meter as well. That said the same, so I'll go with that. 6 watts. So I've got to unfortunately take the back off the radio, alter its keying up position to show 4 watts. Of course, if you're on an antenna that you know is possibly a 1.514 SWR, it's not going to show deadly accurate, your meter, but I'd rather have it showing somewhere near 4 than going pang off the end of the scale. So that's that one. As I say, the power, 6 watts, too much. That's going to be turned down to 4. Low power, hardly anything, which I think should be 0.4. I used to call it half a watt. So that one's going to be turned up. Like I say, when my friend was talking, the meter was going pang right off the end of the scale, so I've got to adjust the signal meter, the receive signal meter as well. And there's the radio. Obviously it's been polished, because I guess the fascia over the years has got very badly scratched, and it hasn't really probably been very well looked after, I guess. It's the original microphone with it. It's got all sorts of nil marks on it, but then again, as we say, 30 odd years of age, isn't it? you've got to meticulously look after things for them to look good and give them a steady old life. This one has had slightly rougher life. The corner panel there is slightly lifting. That needs gluing down. Yeah, it looks different, shiny.